Yes, they walked away game 1. Yes, they win almost every game they walk away with, but can they do it consistently? At a mythic drop where Doom spawns has so much control over the drop, not even how well you play it, and it looks like Hearts team has control over this time. Zate's gone down, Stretch looking pretty healthy, Saf looking okay, but they have to pull off a 2v3 situation here, Monster.
That was so impressive. Stretch was the follow-up to get that, at least the initial knock to make it a 2v2, but no, he has to clutch now. It's not looking too good. He gets one, but no, it's not going to be enough. They get taken out, and just like that, from first place to a big donut, they get set behind by...
Hey, Hard came up big there in that one for sure. Second game picks it up, but can they have the consistency? That's the hard part. Yes, this is going to massively affect Zate's score, but what can Hard do it? What can they actually do with it now as we see Carey trying to do something here over at Holy Hedges, a drop that doesn't really have an insane amount of loot for trios, so you need to wipe the team there. There is no splitting this drop. There is no taking some of the loot and leaving. You have to fight it out now as Pamstow, the last one standing here, trying to take down what he can here. Maybe he gets the revive off from Carey. He's given up on the revive. I think he knows he has the health advantage, trying to find his way in on this opponent. Has the chance to go for the revive, but the player would probably hear it and maybe break his way up. It's Tabs, a very scary player, but never mind. We also have another player still here. They actually are still at a 2v1 situation. He didn't get the revive, or is this another trio here, Monster? We have a little bit of a fight here going out over the weather station, and this is a drop that's now left uncontested as Chap's team didn't qualify. This is a drop that they have had under control since the start of the season. You've had Chap, since he split with Booger, dropping a caddy corner kind of weather station split, and now looks like we have some of these newer teams trying to kind of muscle their way in and take this drop spot, and here his shots come out, and he does. He takes down, wait, that's Glace. So that means Glace, Nick Air 30 are doing like a, I guess like a Camp Cod mountain split, Monster, and they've lost Glace, which is going to be a big fall, and I don't think they're going to get the card. Bit of hide and seek right now. Clix can't see him. He's on top of a floor there, and Joji is kind of hiding beneath it, up against that air conditioning unit. So maybe here, Joji can set up a beam on Clix. If he sets up here, he can get a good beam on him. I don't know what weapons Joji has, but Clix is so focused on Tabs, and Joji's just sitting. He's actually playing hide and seek. Clix didn't see him. He's wearing a bright, fluoro, colorful neon skin that fluctuates the color, and he still stayed hidden from Clix. Joji has managed to pull something off here. I don't think they've seen him. He's up against... Come on, Illest. Yes, they see him.
I was going to tell you, you may not have like the traditional, I don't know what kind of bears you have over there in the OCE, but if you don't move, right, you just stay still. Maybe they won't see you, right? Just let them go by. This is the same situation here. Clix is looking for any movement, right? Any pixel out of place.
Look at the skin that Joji was using. If I had to pick a skin that was the hardest to hide in, that would have been it. As we see, they pick him up and they get the full damage execute there. So right now, what that was Clix was getting the full damage shot for the Storm Surge, but Joji almost pulled it off. But it's worth mentioning, Tab still got away. So Joji's little stall there by hiding and how long it took for them to find him was enough time to get Tabs away in the truck. So I guess it worked. Bit of hide and seek in your NA East Finals Game 2.
Talk about optimizing. This is a scary fight. This is not an optimal one. Not at all. It's right in the middle, right in between all these sight lines, and it's a dirty 3v3. Like, it's a messy one. It's a box fight. I don't even know who's on what team right now. Okay, now as we catch up, it's Tragic, Simple, and Snake. They're winning.
They are winning, and we saw this, you and me, before the game started today. I was watching Chap trying to qualify for the finals, and we saw a few focus skins just go ham on Chap, sprint in, double pumps out, and just win the entire fight. And it is this same team. They definitely have kind of like a full rush, aggressive mentality with these fights, and all three of them still together, trying to find where these last opponents are. They want to get everything out of this, but they are in slopey swamps. They could get some shield off the river here. They have minis, they have big pots, they found it. They're going to try and maybe shake down or get max damage. We'll see. No, it's going to be the max damage, and there it is.
We just
talked about it. These teams know what they're doing. They're picking up the player so they can't move to ensure they get the sniper headshot, which is the most amount of damage you can possibly deal, because damage on a downed opponent still counts towards Storm Surge. You can't let that go to waste. As we said, a scrappy fight they might not want to take, Monster, but I think they're just that confident.
I mean, hey, it worked out. You can't judge it at that point. And like you mentioned, the sniper headshots, the small things that I geek over, you gotta love that right there. Here's another setup right now using the crash pad. Talking about geeking over plays, he's gonna use the crash pad to break out Leo here and expose him, just crack him open.
They got to get some damage up, and it's interesting to see. They obviously just won Ninja Battles last week. They popped off. I think they won it by almost 15 points or more, so they had such a dominant performance, and it came on the back of really aggressive early and mid-game fights. People aren't really used to seeing, as we now see AJ's team now dropping down here, getting focused by Aspect, Npen, and Zunies. They're just controlling this area of Slurpy Swamps, Monster. They have it on lockdown. They have all these long tunnels, and they're just moving through, popping up, taking shots, focusing, going back down. This team is looking really, really good. Had a rough game one, but on the the back of those semis, it's so good to see Aspect back. Anyone who's new to competitive Fortnite, you may not have the same kind of vibes the rest of us are feeling, but Aspect was in the scene from the very beginning, the skirmish days, the old days of Fortnite, and he kind of disappeared a little bit. He didn't really play or didn't place for a while, and now he's back in the biggest of ways, winning in team game modes and solos. They have, and we're talking about insane duos out there. Acorn and Jacques, one of the best duos that Slacks just fit in so perfectly with. They talked about in their interview after Ninja battles, he just kind of fit right in, but at the end of the day, the duos reign supreme. If two people are going to be alive to close out as a trio, an established duo is going to be the one to do it. They have that built-up chemistry, as we have players like Booger and Jamper who've played together so many times. Bit tumultuous with their third, with Avery. They had chat for a little bit. Avery back in there now, but this is an aggressive team that knows how to take fights. If they can keep making endgame, they're going to get their damage, they're going to get their eliminations up, as Avery pushing forward on this one, trying to secure some of this loot and get in, has the crash pads, but opting not to use them as it's Zexro's team that's on the back foot. We also have Strep and Lazar in there as well, so three teams on top of each other, and the shockwave comes out. We have Avery trying to get his way back in with the crash pad, and beautiful use of that crash pad. Hits the momentum off the shockwave to bounce straight back in, and I was talking about how they're going to get their materials. It looks like they were just going to get eliminations to take a Monster.
That's some quick thinking right there, and it's crazy to see that Avery has collided with this same team once again. It was Nanolight's crew, it was Jamper's team right over here, and of course, Macwood and Zex and them right there as well. It's like they also rotated the same way as they did it from game one. That was the same kind of collision course. They hit it again here coming into game two. You cannot be happy about that, because those are some scary players to come across. Not that there's any freebies here, but still, it's you know, when you pick and choose your battles, you don't want to pick them, right? When you look at the list of players to come across.
There's some fighters that are just better, as Shark takes down Strobe, and now we have Bizzle, Illist, and Clix. We're talking about good fighters. That's hard. We talked about it. Can they have the same consistency Zayd's team does when they leave Dooms? And so far, the answer is no. Heart's team falling here. Clix, Bizzle, and Illist getting that elimination, and probably getting Doom's mythical bomb, which could maybe make them have a much better chance of taking high ground or controlling this lobby like we saw Zayd do. And yeah, you're talking about it. Obviously, everyone in these lobbies is insane. Top 33 teams in NA East, but there's some teams like Clix and Illist that you just don't want to fight.
Yeah, not at all. And we just talk about teams and how they're doing. I think I saw one of the XZ boys go down. I saw Sway go down as well, which means Ronaldo might be out there by himself, losing a teammate there. So a lot of teams are starting to fall apart here, and it's looking like, you know, this team is no different. Slacks has been out of the equation for quite some time, and Jock was nearly taken out there. Just take a look at his health. So low. So they're going to have to use the splash here now and whatever heals that they have left, and that's going to put them backs against the wall in a real scrap for scrap situation. They're going to have to come back big time here off of siphons and finding an impact now. Who is it that they can option in on? Who is it that they can target? I see Gush there hiding in a cone by himself. Maybe they can still bounce back this opportunity here.
Bizzle, Illist, and Clix setting up a base on that high ground in such a dominant position. I also saw Bucky, Kriya, Kanata there in the mid layer, which doesn't look like the position to always be. Now they're on front side low, but they are so good at fragging out endgame with different situations, so I'm looking at them to pop off here. But Aspect, Zuniz, and Npen with 6 eliminations already on the board. A rough game 1, but clearly did not affect their mentality going into game 2 as they're pushing forward. And Jacques and Acorn just picked up Casca and smacked.
Wow.
Monster, your pick's still alive here. They are fighting their way back into this and proving why you had so much faith in them.
I mean, that is insane, though, as a two-man team to just collide with another possibly full team right there and find their frags. That is so crazy. And I mean, they needed it, if any. Someone who needs something big right now is Aspect as well, who gets tagged, and now he needs HP. Dwindling down on material. 220 builds, or 220 wood just left in the inventory. High ground, though, still held by Illix, Clix, and Bizzle, and they're set up the anti, shockwave kind of style here. They are up in the air right now. And remember, I think they rotated in late to pick up some gauntlets too, or no, that was actually Calculator. Scratch that one. But Aspect is going to find Haas here now, and that's going to be a great siphon to keep him in the game. And oh my gosh, these frags are just coming for this squad right now.
And Clix's team needs to make big on this as Aspect gets cut off right now. He's sitting back in the top, going for those eliminations, gets cut off from Zuniz and Npen. Really nice play there from Mira to jump in there. But Clix does. He had the crash pads. I believe they all have enough mobility where if they get knocked out, they won't take the fall damage. Bizzle, the only player here who doesn't, so he's got that Doom's Bomb and he's applying the pressure on a lower layer, while Clix sits up nice and high to block those shockwave retakes. But he has the crash pads as Bizzle gets an elimination. And I was going to say, they need to make something big here, Monster. They're not always going to get their hands on Doom's loot coming into endgame. So as much as this team has a chance of performing well today, this is their game. They need to make a statement. If they can't capitalize on this, they're going to struggle in their other games, but capitalizing, it looks like they're doing. Reese's pick coming back now, coming a big jump up here at the end. The Doom's Bomb just applies so much pressure, Monster.
That's right, and it's setting all the builds on fire. If you're not building out of metal here, it's going to start to be engulfed into flames, and that's going to force you out of those layers, force everyone down, and really force the placement to start funneling upwards towards these guys on height here. Clix, Bizzle, and Illis doing just that. Illis is out here branching outwards as well, so look, they have all their layers completely spread out. Clix has so much material to hold this height by himself. He is not even worried. Bandage, bazooka in hand as well, so just with the cannon right there, just to weather the storm, they are clearly playing for the ultimate strategy. It's either going to be a heal off, or they're going to bang it out between the two that's going to jump down, which is Bizzle and Illis.
TJ in second only has just fallen now, so this game is looking like the leaderboard on the top will shake up a bit, but we have Bucky, Creo, and Kanata there on the low ground making their way through, and if any team can upset this and try and win off the low ground, because it's so hard to work your way up from bottom to top, it's going to be this team as they work their way through the rest of the lobby. We have only 4 teams alive right now. Bizzle, Illist, and Clix controlling the high ground. Bucky, Creo, Kanata on the low. We have Acorn, who made it all the way to the end, Monster. Acorn solo clutched that in such a big way, as we now have Simple and Tragics trying to fight their way through this. It's going to have to be a battle of Bucky, Creo, Kanata versus Clix, Illist, and Bizzle, 2 of the biggest names in NA East. Clix and Kanata obviously having a big history, so this one is gonna be a kind of a family affair. Bucky goes through on the low ground, gets another elimination. Here we have it, only 2 teams left. It's the 3v3, the most exciting situation you can be in trios. Both teams relatively healthy. Kanata goes up for it, he tries to make a play out of it. He falls down, he doesn't get knocked, but he takes heavy damage. Creo's up there as well, but Clix is on top of them. Clix does zone wars day in, day out. He knows how to control this situation. He has the high ground, but Bizzle has fallen, so they're at a numbers disadvantage as he tries to work his way down right now. Illist is down there as well, making a name for himself as one of the scariest people to have near you on the walls. Creo goes again, but he goes down to Storm. Clix just lasering from the high ground. Illist trying to hunt down Bucky, and I have to think he's going to be able to do it. This team might be able to close this one out. Bucky goes down on low. He has 6 eliminations, but he has no builds. He only has shield.
My
he takes down
gosh,
Illist.
he hit
Can
that.
he get the finish? It's going to come down to Clix versus Bucky, but Clix has the bandage cannon, so he wins the heal off, but such an exciting endgame, Monster.
And it wasn't for nothing, because still they traded out those eliminations, showing you that every single elim matters. So even though they were the final ones, they still...
There you go, and we'll see after that game. Now we have Voil, Rokane, and TJ up there in that number 1 spot. They did play 6th that last game with 2 eliminations. That's why they do have this point lead. But you see,